Jeff Capel about Miami's guards, and each of the three for Miami has at least one bucket so far.
Yeah, and again, it's really, he's not happy with the start. I think they started off offensively with the turnover, but then the breakdowns on defense. Again, they must do a better job containing dribble drives and limit the wide open looks for Miami shooters.
Out of the timeout, Audis Toney has checked in for Pitt. Missed the last couple of games with a left elbow injury that he suffered in practice leading up to the Wake Forest game last weekend. And that's traveling on Murphy, and that is 3 turnovers for Pitt.
Right out of the tip, again, I'm going to touch on that. I said, look, for Pitt, it comes down to they can't turn the ball over. When they don't turn it over, they're a very good team. I know that might sound simplistic, but that has been an issue with them at times.
And McGusty hits a tough one in the face of Toney. 11-0 Miami.
You could not ask for a better start if you're Miami and Coach Larinaga. Your guys are getting it done defensively, and then offensively, they've come out with a hot start from beyond the arc.
Justin Champagnie, the freshman, was short. Remember, it was Louisville who got off to the huge start, led by 20 early on against Miami at the Yum Center earlier this week. Good pressure from Murphy, nearly forced the turnover. Lykes with that burst to the bucket and an offensive foul.
That's great team defense that time. And again, I talked about that. Lykes is going to get into the paint, but your help side defense must be there. Again, blow by. Your defense is in sync. Beautiful job stepping in, taking the charge. And that's something that Pitt has done very good this year. Play defense. They're 23rd in the college basketball, holding opponents to 60 points per game. So their defense really has been a bright spot for them thus far.
And that defense forced Chris Lykes into already his second foul, not even a full 4 minutes in. Both teams expected that the other might play some zone today. Second chance for Pitt. Here's Trey McGowens feeding Champagnie, who got stripped. And then Harlan Beverly, the freshman, kicked it away. Well, we've told you about Chris Lykes and Xavier Johnson. We'll tell you about their high school history when we come back to Coral Gables. Down Miami, there's Xavier Johnson and Chris Lykes. Used to square off in the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference. We talked to Chris Lykes about it today.
Kind of a similar game, attacking point guard, getting downhill, creating for other guys. But can also score the ball. I mean, he had 32, so I don't know if that was all on me, but I'm going to sit here and say I'll take something.
Yeah, he was talking about their matchup 3 years ago. Lykes was a senior. Xavier Johnson was a junior. It was at Xavier Johnson's Bishop O'Connell team. And that was Johnson's coming out party, he told us. He gave them 32, but Lykes' team got the win.
And he definitely let us know how many he had as we take a look at more. Good ball movement by Miami. But going back to the earlier comment, these guys are very familiar with each other. But early on in this game, Miami really has done a nice job breaking down this Pitt D. I think they're using their aggression. Pitt came into this game one of the better teams at turning you over. They've been really aggressive in the passing lanes, and I think Miami early on is using that aggression against them to break down the D and then get into the paint.
And so Sam Wardenberg, the redshirt junior from New Zealand, stamps a three-point play. And it's 2 touchdowns for Miami and nothing doing for Pitt so far.
Yeah, and look at this right here. That's not the start that Jeff Capel wanted. 8 possessions, 3 of them turnovers, and again, another poor possession. And credit to Miami D right now. They're just taking them out of their offense.
DJ Vasiljevic. Nice hustle by Trey McGowens, but it does stay with Miami. So what do you do if you're Jeff Capel down 14 just over 5 minutes in so far?
Well, I think it starts with, obviously, don't turn the ball over. Right now, Miami's got 8 points off of those turnovers. I think the bigger thing is defensively, they have to stop getting broken down off the dribble. There's way too many times you see Miami ball handlers get into the paint and then they're just finding guys.
Pick and pop this time, and Wardenberg off target. Johnson, like a bull, driving the lane, and another turnover. That's 4 of them for the Panthers.
Here we are. We've played 5 minutes, and Pitt has yet to score a bucket in this game. And Miami, on the other end, they continue to execute, and they're getting high percentage shots.
McGusty backdoor. Using that Pitt ball pressure and denials against it, and another timeout for a furious Jeff Capel and company.
Well, it's just breakdowns. Again, backdoors. I talked about the aggressive nature of Pitt trying to shoot the gaps. Heads up play by Miami. Again, they're setting up the backdoors. One hard step out, and then they're going right back door. The help side defense is late, and this has been a brutal start for Pitt.
Well, hey, Tuesday night we'll take you to the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, number 13 Louisville, and these Panthers, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. And not that Jeff Capel's looking past what he stares down right now, but when you look at that Louisville matchup, remember we had the first meeting between those teams in Louisville early December, and that was a close game with about 8 minutes to go.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is the last thing on their mind right now. They better figure out a way to score some points. Right now it is 16-0, and we've played 6 minutes of basketball.
Remember, they broke that streak, ACC road losses, 22 in a row before the win in Chapel Hill on Wednesday. Now trying to win back-to-back ACC road games for the first time in 6 years. Johnson will go to the line, and a chance at Pitt's first points.
Xavier Johnson has one of the best hesitation dribbles. It is lethal, his hesitation, and then his ability to explode by defenders. A really strong frame. I talked about in the open his improved three-point shooting as they finally get on the board, Pitt, but he's over 40% from beyond the arc for the season. And take a look at his numbers. A pretty impressive start.
Jeff Capel's talked a lot this year about some of the pressure that was on Johnson, maybe self-inflicted to begin the year. That has lessened some, and he has tried to play part of the backcourt with Trey McGowan's for this Pitt team as we get into ACC play. Beverly is blocked. Whoa. Terrell Brown came flying in. Guy who ranks 5th all-time in Pitt history in block shots.
That's great recovery right there. They broke up what looked like was going to be another open three. Came out of nowhere.
Shot clock below 10 now. Wardenberg drives. Shot clock at 2. Beverly got it off and off target. Got the late notice from his teammates in the crowd there. Johnson was nearly out of control, and Brown rattles in the jumper.
And that's what Xavier Johnson can do. Again, he slipped on that play, but the pressure he's able to put on the defense and then make the simple play. Draw the D, kick it out to somebody that's open.
The kick out this time is for Wardenberg. He swirls one out. Let's see if McGowan's can get involved. Yes. Good from 3 for Trey McGowan's, the sophomore, coming off 24 on Wednesday.
That is the reason why there's a buzz around this Pitt program of those two guys right there, Xavier Johnson and Trey McGowan's. 2 of the better guards in the ACC, and they can heat up very quick.
So can Cam McGusty. That's a long 2. His foot was on the line. Stops a 7-0 run from Pitt that they put together in just 66 seconds. McGowan's draws a foul on McGusty. Cardinal sin, right?
Yeah, and probably would not have been a good shot by Trey McGowan. That's a bailout foul. That's well beyond the three-point line off of a high ball screen, and certainly an ill-advised foul.
Cam Auguste pleading his case to Jamie Luckey.
And you talked about a good crew today. You're not going to win that battle right there. He clearly hit him. We could see that right from our angle right here. And again, not a good foul. That's a lot of times, though, that's on the big. The big needs to be up there communicating on that ball screen. Take a look at the road numbers for Trey McGowan, and that's pretty good right there. I think both he and Johnson are underrated in terms of their rebounding ability. Both these guys are very good rebounders from the guard position.
You see Chris Lykes, he returns. Remember, he picked up his second foul at the 16-12 mark. So with Pitt on a run and McGusty picking up a foul, Lykes returns. And McGowan's good on all three. 8 minutes in, 8-point game in Coral Gables. Malcolm Huckabee, Mike Monaco, our ACC network crew with you. Hard hedge from Brown on Vasiljevic. They've got him in a trap on the sideline. Offensive foul, and they might go have a look at this as well.
Yeah, it looked like the elbow came up right to the face.
Back in Coral Gables, DJ Vasiljevic and Jim Larinaga were both saying that DJ Vasiljevic actually got hit first, and the officials told us they went to see if this was a cylinder foul on Ryan Murphy, so it would have been a defensive foul. They ruled that it is still an offensive foul, and just that, nothing more on Vasiljevic.
Yeah, and I think it's a good call. It's one of those tricky plays where, again, the intent, I don't think it was there to swing an elbow. He's just a guy trying to get out of a double team. A good job, though, by the officials, not taking too much time on it and then not compounding it by making it a flagrant foul. I think that's a good call. Good job of officiating there by the refs.
So out of the timeout, just over 8 minutes in, an 8-point game after Pitt fell behind 16-0 here on the road. Murphy off the shot fake. Boy, he is a great shooter as well when he's going well, and we had some fun chatting with him earlier this season. We asked him about his shooting routine, and he told us, hey, managers count makes, but Steph Curry taught me I count swishes.
And I love it. You look, all nets, rim, you get a half point or no count at all, and certainly you got to love his confidence. But again, he's a guy that puts in the work.
And he's a fun guy. I mean, this is what he was talking about with the media members just recently. I play with an edge because I feel like I'm an underdog. I look like a frat boy. I've got a comb over, and so every night I've got to go out there and prove everyone wrong. How great is that?
Oh, I love it. I love it. That might be one of the best quotes that I've seen all year right there. That is just great stuff, but a nice use of the shot fake that time. Yeah, got the Miami defense overextended. Nice little head fake, and then right in rhythm to his pull-up jumper.
And so now off the Miami turnover, down by 6, Pitt can keep inching closer. Johnson drives, dishes, Brown slams.
That's the Xavier Johnson that Pitt wants to see. Break down the defense. Again, his hezzy off the charts. It is so tough. And then in the lane, draw the D. That's a beautiful dime for an uncontested dunk.
You were talking about his assist total earlier. Great job creating there by the sophomore from Woodbridge, Virginia. Here's Isaiah Wong, a freshman for Miami. Rolled it off the rim. Johnson gets downhill again. Champagny, 2-point game. And a timeout, Miami.
One of the top assist guys in the ACC, Xavier Johnson, on full display the last 2 possessions. Right here, the hezzy, look at it, lethal, in the lane, draw the defender. That's a beautiful setup for an uncontested dunk. And then right here again, break the D down. All this guy has to do, catch, lay it in, and that has been the maturity of him this year, and he's one of the top assist guys to go along with one of the better scorers in the ACC.
Hey, we've got you covered for the national championship game tomorrow. Check this out. We kick it off with Packer and Durham, 7 a.m. Eastern. Then the Huddle Crew gets you set. LSU Clemson again coming up. That's at 6. A 2-hour pregame takes you right up till kickoff at 8. Next, it's the game. Clemson radio team led by Don Munson. And after the game, the Huddle's back to break it all down with interviews with coaches and players. You can watch it on the ESPN app from anywhere. And coming up at halftime here, we'll get some national championship game predictions, not just from us, no one cares too much about that, but from Jeff Capel and Chris Lykes.
I care about your opinion. I think you got some good takes on it.
That might
I'll
make
give you a
one of
little
us.
love.
2-point game. It's a 16-2 run for Pitt midway through this first half. Augusti's got 10. Way off the mark, matched up with Champagny. Side of the backboard for Wardenberg, and a shot clock violation.
Shot clock violation.
Well, you notice the change in this last 3 to 4 minute stretch. To start the game off, Miami, they had all wide open looks. Now the Pitt D's picking up their contested shots. On the other end, now Pitt is the one getting the open looks and better quality possessions on offense. And it all starts, though, with that Pitt defense. They've done a nice job in this last stretch, creating some offense with their D.
Jeff Capel has said throughout the season it might not be pretty for us offensively this year, but we're going to have to hang our hat on defense. There's a jumper for McGowan's, and McGowan's is up to 8, and that 16-point lead is gone for Miami.
I love his mid-range game. He is so explosive. That is a beautiful pick-and-roll play that time by McGowan's.
He's matched up with Lykes. High off the window.
I called him one of the most difficult shot makers in college. That right there, he made it look easy. That is a guy 5'7" going over a guy 6'10". He kissed it right off the glass.
We had some fun chatting with him today after Miami shoot-around this afternoon. Traveling the call on McGowan's and a 5th Pitt turnover.
Right here again, this is on the big. You got to come up either heads. That time he just continues to flatten out. You have to hedge and slow down the ball. And then this right here again, that is a difficult shot that a guy, Chris Lykes, makes look easy going up over the big.
Miami puts you in so many ball screens. Lykes from the elbow this time.
So difficult to match up against. Again, because he can shoot the 3, he'll split ball screens. What you have to do if you're big, you need a mobile big that can slide with him. That's really the only chance you have because he's just so quick, so shifty, and explosive.
Johnson drives. Kicks for Champagny. Short, and the rebound secured by the big Rodney Miller Jr. Nearly a carry on Lykes. And now they do call it on the 5'7" guard.
Well, Chris Lykes, one of the most difficult shot makers in college ball, right here with the pull-up jumper.
Out here in Miami, we're in Coral Gables. How about a familiar face who was at shoot-around today and now checking out this game? Of course, Jeff Capel had been at Duke, and Justice Winslow.
Yeah, and we had a chance to see those two guys capping it up at shoot-around this afternoon. And obviously, Jeff Capel recruited a lot of great players at his time at Duke and also at Oklahoma, along with Blake Griffin. But I think that bond, we talked to him about that bond that he has formed with these players, that he's not only recruited, coached, and mentored. And it's just great to see him out here supporting his coach, who meant so much to him and his development.
That was the phrase you used earlier, talking about Jim Larinaga, the development, and it's what, of course, Jeff Capel's trying to do now in his second season. Just got the contract extension that now takes him through the 26-27 season. It's been a game of runs so far. And a foul called in the post. It's on Hamilton, matched up with Miller. 16-0 start to this game for Miami. Then Pitt on an 18-2 run to tie it up, and now the last 4 to the Hurricanes. Vasiljevic got bumped, and they get the foul on Ryan Murphy.
Now Murphy was right there on that play. Again, good defense, but the extra little looked like he got him with the hip check. As we take a look at this, right, I think the big thing for Pitt to start this game off, the points off of turnover. Miami had a lot of points to start this game off of the careless play. Really enabled them to get off to the hot start.
Beverly, nice dump off for Miller. Got his own miss. Miller on the stick back.
That's great second effort by Miller.
McGowan's nearly lost it on the spin. Johnson rises. Rebound Wardenberg, who's playing through the knee tendonitis. Man, he's been big recently. Offensive foul, and that's 3 on Chris Lykes.
Well, that's twice in this game we've seen Pitt players step in and take a charge. It is impossible to run with Chris Lykes. He's going to get into the lane, but that's why your team D needs to be on point. This time, Xavier Johnson stepping in, taking the charge. That's excellent team defense.
Other end, McGowan's bouncing off bodies much like Chris Lykes.
Oh my goodness, degree of difficulty off the charts that time. Take the hit, no call, but he's able to concentrate, play through contact, and then somehow kiss that off the glass.
Traveling the call on Beverly. I mean, hey, you were a guard. How hard is that to do in terms of body control? A phrase we hear a lot.
Well, I didn't have hops like that, I tell you what. So it certainly helps to be as explosive as McGowan's is, but I think that's upper body strength. He had a great freshman campaign last year. And I think getting in the weight room, getting a little stronger, because that's just a strong move right there and his ability to finish.
McGowan's again out of control this time. Hamilton battling, blocked by Wardenberg, who dives forward and saved it, but to Johnson. Johnson off the bounce. Traveling called on him. And we have had 13 combined turnovers.
This is just great effort on the offensive glass. Pitt, one of the better at coming up with offensive rebounds. And then right here, both teams getting after it. Certainly what you want to see if you're a coach on either side, guys laying it out on the floor.
We were talking with a lot of the Miami staff today, and they described Sam Wardenberg to us as playing on one leg right now. 6 p.m. game tonight. He was here at 10 a.m. to start getting treatment. That's the type of pain that he's in right now as he coughs it up.
I mean, it's hard for them to find bodies. Speaking with assistant coach Chris Caputo and also coach Larinaga, and they were like, listen, it's difficult for us because guys are so banged up, and with his situation, Wardenberg, there's really nothing they can do for it other than rest and him get in and get treatment. And it's something he's just going to have to deal with throughout the course of this season.
They've already been able to get more, at least, from Harlan Beverly. Keith Stone still out indefinitely, though he was moving around and getting some shots up at shoot-around today. Hamilton does not get it off in time, but hold on a sec. When is the foul called?
Well, I don't think it's going to matter either way. It's either going to be an offensive foul or a shot clock violation. I think they're going to go and check to see if the shot clock happened before the foul, but it clearly was an offensive foul. Miami doing a nice job of Team D, and that's something we've seen on both sides now. The help side defense has been really good. Right here, Vasiljevic. Yeah, it looks like it looks like that foul is going to be before. Okay, so the referees are saying it's a shot clock violation as opposed to an offensive foul.
And Vasiljevic is saying, I've been popped a couple of times in this first half.
He's going to need some Advil after this game.
So 24-20 is the Miami lead. in what has been a busy first half to this point, the first 15 minutes.
And now Pitt extends the pressure to picking up full court, doing a little denial, and it looks like they'll drop back into their man-to-man.
Yeah, they've pressed 16% of the time this season. It's been really effective for them throughout the year at times when they've gone to it.
And it's a big reason why they're one of the top defensive teams. They came into this game 23rd in college basketball, holding opponents to 60 points per game.
Miller backing down, went to the drop step, and Hamilton snatches the rebound. McGowan slammed on the brakes. Tough floater going in the opposite direction. McGusty matched up with McGowan. They both have 10 already. McGusty rises and connects. How about this first half for Cam McGusty?
He's coming off a game, a loss to Louisville, where he had 18 points. He was one of the bright spots for Miami, and he continues his hot shooting.
Now he's smiling at Xavier Johnson as he got matched up with Johnson on the other end. Hamilton's jumper won't go, and Miller clears it. McGusty feeling it. Perhaps a heat check for McGusty, and now a tie-up will keep it at this end as Long battled McGowan's fourth. Well, how about Cam McGusty? You give it up, you get it right back. 13 for the transfer. Originally from Texas, comes by way of the Sooners. Knocked down 3 triples so far.
All these coaches do, not only to educate these young men about the game of basketball, but also go beyond that and said, look, anytime we go on a road trip, I try to take them to an event like this, happen to be in New York, have them go and see Hamilton. But I think the cool thing about this is that after every film session leading up to this, about a week before, they gave them some information about Hamilton and the history of it, so that way they weren't just coming and seeing it for the first time without any background.
And they were getting all ready for the songs, coming from someone who just saw it right around that time as well. Outstanding. Shot clock was winding down on Isaiah Wong. He drew the foul and goes to the line.
And to close out on that note, I think it's really a great bonding experience for these guys to have events like this when they're on the road. And it's something that they will remember long when they're done with their careers at Miami.
Wong misses both. Was there anything like that in your playing career that sticks out? Good bonding that you can repeat with your teammates?
I would say our trip to France. I think, you know, we had a chance to go overseas and no TVs. We were out, really felt like in no man's land, and we didn't have any cell phones, and so for me that was a great experience.
Offensive foul on Wong, out of control.
Offensive foul on number 2, Isaiah Wong, his first, team 7.
Well, right idea, but a rookie mistake that time. Nothing there, just pull it back out, keep possession. You like the aggressiveness, but you can't have a turnover, though, in that situation.
Now Pitt trying to find offense again. Started 0 of 7, then knocked down 6 in a row from the floor. Now just one of its last 9.
And the bigs have been much better hedging on ball screens versus Pitt.
Shot clock winding down on Trey McGowan. In the mid-range that you love. Nearly had that one as well, but an offensive rebound for Champagnie. Murphy, way off target. And now Rodney Miller is shaken up.
It's been a physical game, and as you said, we've seen multiple guys take some pretty tough blows to the body and also head area. Right here again, both guys going up. Let's see. Yeah, he got right on the face. And again, I think going back to the earlier call, it's all about intent when guys get hit There's nothing malicious about that. Just a guy going up trying to get an offensive rebound. So, again, another good job by the refs. Realizing that, again, the intent certainly was two guys just going after a rebound.
Remember, this Miami team is beleaguered right now for a second consecutive season shorthanded. We know that Dengak is out for the year, a right knee injury suffered a month ago. Keith Stone, we told you, still out indefinitely with an injury to the same knee where he suffered the torn ACL last year when he was playing for Florida. Beverly's been a go today. He's in the game right now, coming in for Miller as Miami goes small.
And look at that list of injuries. I was joking with Coach L. Said, are you going to lace him up for practice one of these days? He laughed. It's just been so difficult for them to put together a full roster to practice.
Yeah, he's been banged up this year as well. He missed the game earlier with his own back issues. Off the turnover, McGowan's lays it in.
That's where him and Xavier Johnson accelerate. In the open court, those two guys can get into the paint and finish with the best of them.
Talk to so many coaches around this league. They talk about those two guards for Pitt getting downhill on him. Wong doing just that for Miami to the tip.
Well, that's the area that he has struggled in, and he's been able to get to the rim. The physical tools are there. He struggled at times to finish, but that's a beautiful move and finish with the left.
Brown matched up with Wardenberg. Shot clock again winding down on Pitt. Johnson. And a shot clock violation.
And that's a good defensive stand by the freshman, Isaiah Wong. Again, keeping ground, keeping Xavier Johnson out of the paint. Easier said than done, but that's a beautiful stand and stop for Miami.
A bit of an aimless look there from Jeff Capel. Wong off the shot fake this time. Back for his classmate. Good ball movement. Now McGusty on the baseline with a floater. 15 first half points for Cam McGusty.
Unselfish basketball. You had 4 guys that time touch the ball. 3 of them passed up some open looks to get a better look for their teammate.
Can Pitt seize some momentum headed to halftime? Good extra pass on this end. Champagnie. Back iron to close out an eventful first half in Coral Gables.
Well, after the hot start by Miami, Pitt got back into this game, and then Miami retook the lead back and forth. But if you're Jim Larrañaga, you have to be pleased with how your team closed out the half.
They've been good leading that half. They led by as many as 16. Pitt erased it. Miami by 9 at the break.
For Clemson to walk away with a back-to-back national title.
Well, I think, first of all, when you look at the running backs, Travis Etienne for Clemson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire for LSU, they're so much alike. 1,300 yards for Helaire, 1,500 yards rushing for Etienne. Both the third leading receiver on the team. Clemson has got to contain that kid. Even in the Alabama game alone, he scored 3 rushing touchdowns, 1 touchdown receiving. He had over 100 yards, and he caught 9 balls. And quite frankly, at the end of the game, he carried the Alabama defense to a first down to make it where they could take a knee at the end of the game, only ahead by less than a touchdown.
We'll see if he's fully healthy. Now, he did have a hamstring issue, only 2 attempts for 14 yards in the Peach Bowl. EJ, what's your key?
Well, to me, it's the turnover margin. That's something that Clemson's done a great job of all season long. They're plus 16, and for the fans at home, they have 16 more turnovers than they turn the ball over. So that's tremendous. And I think coming into this game, you have to take care of the football. We've all seen how fast LSU can score points. I mean, you give Joe Burrow an extra 2 or 3 series on offense, he's going to hurt you. So coming into this game, take care of the football, and if you can create turnovers on defense, be sure to do that too.
And if you give them a couple extra series, that's one thing. You give them a couple extra seconds, that's a whole nother. So my key to the game for Clemson is, can you establish a rush with your defensive line? Do you have to bring more guys, lose them in coverage to get pressure? I know Clemson has been great at that all year, but I think the key to this is, what can your defensive line do, whether it's with stunts, with other games? You have to get after Joe Burrow, make him uncomfortable. You don't necessarily have to sack him, but get him off of his mark, get his eyes down from looking downfield, then you have a real chance.
Is there an X factor, Coach, you think you can see that for Clemson that's going to emerge in this game?
Well, Travis Etienne is X factor for me, and I'm going back to both of those backs for what they've done for their team. If Etienne, either by running or pass receiving, can get just a little bit of space, he's still fast enough to run through that defense and score.
You know what, for me, it starts right here. It's between the ears. From this point forward, that's why I never liked media day, because it kind of got you all kilted with your mind. I mean, you want to focus on the game. And I was a quarterback, so I had a lot to think about. But to me, I think it's really getting your mind in the fashion of, hey, I'm going to come out and play this type of way. You can't come out there playing flat or slow for either teams, because both these teams can get going fast. They can score points. They can beat you up on defense, too.
Yeah, what I took away from his answer, though, was that the quarterback's got something to think about. You as a lineman, you ain't got anything to think about.
That's my X factor right there. Is Clemson offensive line, what can they do? How dominant can they be? Can they give Trevor Lawrence time? You know, this LSU defense gets after the quarterback, not as good as historically that they have in seasons past. Can they keep him upright, have time in the pocket, or is Trevor Lawrence going to have to use his legs like we saw against Ohio State?
Yeah, LSU usually top 5 in defensive statistics this year, in the 20s in most big statistics. We got so much coverage coming your way on ACC Network on Monday. Packer and Durham starts things off at 7 Eastern. And then pregame, a special huddle edition to help
of some others for their picks on who wins tomorrow.
A poisonous snake at that. And they just seem, sneaky. This is something.
I got LSU winning. I like their hype video, so it gets me pretty hyped watching them play.
My pick for the national championship, the Clemson Tigers. I believe in Dabo. I believe in the ACC. I believe in the experience. I think they're going to go into Baton Rouge, bring the title back to the ACC.
A dramatic pause to set those picks from those guys. And Jeff Gables, right? I mean, going to New Orleans, it's going to feel like Baton Rouge.
And how about Lykes, though? I mean, a hype video, that's the reason. That's his reasoning behind picking LSU in this game. For me, though, I'm going with Clemson. For me, it's personal. Mike Reed, the assistant coach for Clemson. Me and him were classmates in college. So for me, it's always about Clemson. Every time he's coaching in the game, I want to see them do well. But I'm going to give Lykes a hard time about that. A hype video? Come on, man.
All right, I'm going Clemson, too. The rare superpower that is an underdog, and I think you pair underdog with Dabo, and that is a scary proposition. So us two, we're going Tigers like Jeff Capel, different from Chris Lykes. And when you check in on all the college basketball analysts who have chimed in this week on our ESPN family of networks, you get a look at the standings so far as we get toward the national championship tomorrow. How about this? And yeah, leave it to Bill Walton to pick Tigers.
Only Walton could do that. And how about, though, the love for the ACC? I mean, goodness, 40 for LSU. Nonetheless, I just want to see a good game, which I think we will have. But I am going to go with Clemson to bring it back home again, and they get 3 in the last 5 years.
Coming your way tomorrow, coming your way right after this, the second half between Pitt and Miami from Coral Gables.
Some high percentage shots. They used Pitt's aggression to work against them, and they got high-quality shots to start this game off.
Pitt went on a run, though. They eventually erased the 16-0 deficit. They had pulled even at 18-all, but then it was Miami back on a surge, and Miami, despite some foul trouble for Chris Lykes, got it back up to 9. And you look at Pitt, no, they haven't got anything yet really from Xavier Johnson. Lykes only played 9 minutes, yet this is a 9-point game as we start the second half. And I think turnovers. In that first half, Miami had 14 points off of turnovers, and then Pitt, the three-point shooting, that was something we talked about. They struggled in that first half, 12% from beyond the arc, 1 of 8. McGowan's had a dozen. This is his first shot out of halftime. And McGusty with a game-high 15 so far. One note for Miami, Rodney Miller Jr., who went to the locker room right before halftime. He is bandaged, but he is starting the second half, and that's got to be an exhale for Jim Larinaga.
Yeah, he did a good job. I think in ball screen defense, he did a nice job hedging
Weak side offensive rebound for Wardenberg, and a fresh 20 for Miami. Lykes off the shot fake. Into the mid-range.
Well, that is a shot fake pull-up jumper clinic right there. Chris Lykes again under control. Defense running out at him calmly. Head fake went by, raised right up into his jumper.
Champagnie goes up strong at Wardenberg after a rocky first half for the freshman Champagnie, who was just 1 of 7 from the floor. But remember, on Wednesday, he went for a career-high 22 at Carolina.
Yeah, that's good body control, and they need more of that, Pitt. Don't settle for jumpers. Try to get the ball going to the basket.
Lykes just lost it. Murphy's got an open look. Champagnie can't follow it up. Oh, he left it on the doorstep. Speaking of hesitations, McGusty had one. And now Vasiljevic rises and connects.
That is on the big. You have to communicate on that little rub screen right there. No hedge. And Vasiljevic, one of the better three-point shooters in the conference. You give him any airspace, he's going to make you pay.
What Jeff Capel say to his team at shoot-around today? Hey, guys, if you're guarding DJ Vasiljevic, you can never relax. Champagnie over the top of Miller, but it doesn't go. The lead's at a dozen, and Johnson reaches in and commits his second foul.
And right here again, this is on the big. You have to be up. That's Champagnie that time. No communication. And then on that ball screen right there, excuse me, on that little pin down screen, the big must be up there to show and slow down Vasiljevic, or at least get a hand up.
Against a shooter of that caliber, as Lykes misses, the big should always be up. Is that right on a guy like Vasiljevic?
It has to be a team effort, in particular when you're running little curls or pin down screens like that.
Champagnie couldn't handle the pass from McGowan's and a turnover.
Panthers substitution number 5, Audie Tony.
Well, they would love to get Vasiljevic going back to the form that he had to start the season. You see better than 50% those first 9 games, below 30% recently.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the opponent. 2 ranked teams they played back-to-back, but then I think also how they're playing him. They are loading up. Everybody knows he has beyond NBA range.
Wow! How about Chris Lykes? That guy is a joy to watch. Champagnie airballs it. The frustration showing for the freshman. And Lykes in Miami up 14.
Well, they're getting open looks, but that guy right there is making some difficult. I said he is one of the most tough shot makers in college basketball. It seems like every shot he's contested by 2 or 3 defenders. Doesn't make a difference. He's still somehow able to get that 5'7" frame in traffic and finish.
He is so shifty with the ball, or without the ball even.
He's just a handful to match up against.
Vasiljevic on the step through. Different ways to get buckets, and Vasiljevic stayed patient that time. Jeff Capel wants another timeout. 7-0 run, and the lead swells to 16. Well, we saw Chris Lykes get involved, and DJ Vasiljevic a good start to his second half here at home.
It's hard to see when you're
Miami women's basketball. You're going to get never-before-seen footage and sounds from head coach Katie Meyer, her staff, the players. It's a 1-hour show, and it premieres tonight after the game, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. Team coming off a big win earlier today right here in this building over Coach Q and Syracuse. Xavier Johnson hangs in the air, and Pitt's going to apply pressure.
Yeah, and that time Miami switched up to a 2-3 matchup zone, and I think this is a good call by Coach Jeff Gables. See if you can get out, pressure Miami, force some turnovers, and then get out in transition, because right now they're struggling shooting the ball from beyond the arc. 1 of 9 in this game. Excuse me, 1 of 11. 9% for the game.
How many times does a team try to erase not one but 2 different 16-point deficits? That's what Pitt's going to try to do here today as Lykes takes the bump. And Xavier Johnson will get tagged. Betty checking in with some picks, and the guys in New Orleans as well.
Yeah, I cannot wait, though. That's going to be an exciting game and event. And obviously NFL talent on both sides.
Of course, great football ties here as well. We showed you the national championships that Miami has won. We already saw one crazy comeback in the NFL earlier today. The second NFL game today features Jimmy Graham, former Miami basketball player Jimmy Graham.
And I'm sure we're going to continue to see a lot more of that. Some of these NBA-type athletes getting converted to tight ends or defensive ends. I can only imagine LeBron playing either a linebacker or the tight end position. Not sure too many people would be able to match up against him.
McGusty going one-on-one with his first second half points, up to 17 overall.
And not too many people on the Pitt side have been able to match up against him. That's just a great individual move. Not bad defense. That's just a tough shot going away.
And then McGusty got his hands in there. Lykes on top of Johnson. And Pat Driscoll confers with Jamie Lucky. And they get a timeout called by Pitt. Looks like Lykes was about to maybe commit a foul as well on top of Johnson.
Yeah, a lot of contact, and this game is getting chippy and physical. We talked about those two guys have some history going back to their high school days where they competed in. I think both teams understand the importance, obviously, on the road and the way the ACC is going right now.
Well, the run so far for Miami have typified this one. 16-0 to start the game, and then 13-4. That's how we've begun these first 5.5 minutes out of the break. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. A rematch of a game Malcolm and I were fortunate enough to call back in early December. Number 13, Louisville, survived in South Bend yesterday, and these Pitt Panthers coming up Tuesday.
Pitt right now has their work cut out for them, trying to get back into this game against Miami, who has really done a great job defensively, creating turnovers and then creating offense with those turnovers. That's really been the story of this game.
Pitt had to use the timeout, its final timeout, for the final 14:30 of this second half. Murphy, an offensive rebound. A roll around the rim on Brown's follow. And then a foul call. They get McGowan's for the foul.
Well, when we spoke with Jeff Capel this afternoon in shoot-around, he said, look, it's simple for our guys. We got to make shots. I don't mean to sound simplistic, but we've had some good looks, and that's been the case in this game. They've had some open looks. I think the big number for them, though, has been the turnovers, and in particular early on to start this game off.
Likes the dump off for Rodney Miller.
I mean, that's just not fair. Trying to stay in front of Chris Lykes. He will break you down, and I like his court vision tonight. He is setting his teammates up for some easy buckets around the basket.
There's a shot that falls. That's the 11th made field goal for Pitt compared to 9 turnovers that they've had.
It really has been a low free throw shooting game for both teams. Pitt took 5 in the first half. Miami only took 3.
Miami trying to solve the zone. McGusty, well short, defended by Champagnie. Murphy's running and pulling up. Left it short, and Wardenberg secures it.
Yeah, that's a great job of blocking out by Wardenberg that time, and he's gimping on that knee right now, but as Coach Larinaga said, look, he's just going to be a guy that's going to have to fight through that knee pain that he's been dealing with.
This guy generated so much praise last weekend from Coach K in the blowout loss here at the hands of Duke. Vasiljevic forced it up with the shot clock winding down amid a trap. Tony goes up strong for two. First points for Adis Tony since he came back off the elbow injury. And a timeout for Jim Larinaga. 16-point lead for the Hurricanes. Battle to be Mike Monaco, our ACC network crew. We have seen the Chiefs today erase a huge deficit already in NFL action. Pitt went down by 16 here on the road. They erased that, but now they're down by 16 again. Still a long way to go. And they get a stop and a rebound coming out of the timeout. Trey McGowan's tried to thread it to Brown, but it's another Panthers turnover.
And they get just what they want. They get a stop, get out in transition where they excel, and then they just can't capitalize. But I like the change up of defense by Coach Capel. Now they're extending, giving a little three-quarter court pressure, and then the 3-2 matchup zone, just trying to give Miami a different look to slow them down.
The zone has served them well. They've used it just about 20% of the time this season. Miller, no. So a couple of stops for Pitt. Now can they convert it into offense? Brown syncs up with McGowan's this time.
Wow, what a pinpoint pass by Trey McGowan's that time in transition. And then the catch and finish was even more impressive.
He's orchestrating with Xavier Johnson on the Pitt bench. Johnson with 3 fouls and 4 turnovers in this one. Shot clock at 5. Vasiljevic banks it in over the top of Murphy, and Vasiljevic is saying he got hit as well.
When you're a shooter, it doesn't matter. Bank that time, though, a deep 3, and that's a tough break for Pitt.
Nearly a bank. This time the foul drawn by Trey McGowan as Vasiljevic did his best Buddy Boeheim from yesterday.
And Coach Capel right now is talking to Ryan Murphy saying, look, Vasiljevic is the one guy that you must find out of the zone when you are a Pitt player. Anybody. That time it happened to be Murphy, and again, he is one of the better three-point shooters. Coach Capel was talking to Murphy on that last possession, telling him, again, you must identify the shooter.
And so McGowan's at the line here. It was the 4th foul on Chris Lykes, 10:52. And he gets replaced by the freshman Isaiah Wong once again, who's going to handle this pressure from Pitt. McGusty nearly gave it up in a trap, and he travels.
And that's why that fourth foul on Lykes is so big. Now you have a freshman out there trying to handle this pressure versus Pitt. And certainly a great opportunity for Pitt to continue to climb back into this game.
Pitt still got Johnson on the bench. Champagny missed another one in close. Vasiljevic smartly backs it out.
And that's, again, another missed opportunity, though, for Pitt. Champagny right there, point blank, just couldn't convert on that layup around the basket.
Been averaging 17 over his last 4 games. Vasiljevic left it short. Wong on the deck collides with McGowan's. A tie-up will keep it at this end of the floor. Wow, that was a hard collision as Wong dove right into McGowan's.
Yeah, right here, again, loose ball situation. Both guys on the floor. Ooh. And that's certainly a hard, I think, second bounce that he took. But good job, though, by both guys getting after it on the loose ball. Miami is going to retain possession.
And Miami's been doing this throughout the game, trying to send someone into the backcourt, throwing a baseball pass. This time, Champagnie picks it off. Murphy got this one.
Murphy and Vasiljevic now going back and forth at each other with the three-pointers. Well, if you're Miami right now, again, you can't float the ball around on the perimeter against this 3-2 matchup zone. You got to get your bigs in that area right there.
Wardenberg got a good look at it. The margin is a dozen with Pitt on an 11-3 run. McGowan slicing and dumping it off for two on the baseline from Champagnie.
And this all happened when Lykes went to the bench. A good adjustment by Pitt to change the D. This three-quarter court pressure has impacted this game.
And a 10-second count on Miami. And you can see this Miami fatigue right now. And so with 9:02 left after the turnover, Chris Lykes coming back in.
Yeah, and again, right here, this is just an individual play by Murphy. Poor closeout that time by Vasiljevic, and then Trey McGowan's making another play in the lane. Nice little dump-off pass. This is all set up, though, by getting stops on defense out of that 3-2 zone.
Yeah, you said you'd love the pressure, too, and with the short bench we know Miami has, you can see the bigs are panting out there for Miami. Now it's down to 8. 7 seconds to get it over this time. Chris Lykes sat for 1 minute and 50 seconds of game action, and now he's playing with 4 fouls.
Well, if you're Miami, again, you got to get a ball screen for Lykes or get your bigs to flash to that paint area.
Tipped out last touch by Tony, and so it stays with Miami.
Again, nice play by Murphy, and then using his body to shield off, and that's nice touch, heads-up play, and now you go back to that 10:48 mark. Lykes goes to the bench.
And you saw the shoes there for Ryan Murphy. We were chatting with him when they were going up through warm-up lines before the game. Those aren't even his shoes. He had to borrow one of the walk-on shoes, Anthony Starzinski. He had a rip in his shoes at shoot-around today, so we were asking him pregame, hey, what'd you do to fix that?
And those are not even his size. I'm not even sure how he's like, look, I just got to squeeze in these things. He did not have a backup pair, and I'll tell you right now, I don't think I can play in sneaks that were a half size or a size too small for me. He said, listen, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do the best I can do, but certainly a unique situation, him having a sneaker malfunction right before the game.
How about this? It gets picked off again. Miami, for a second consecutive time up the court, tried to throw it into the backcourt. McGowan's nearly brought it down. Wardenberg went up to meet him. And a foul call.
Wow. I thought McGowan's was going to have a Sports Center top 10 dunk. Again, second time, a long pass denied. And then right here, McGowan's going up for the poster jam. Wardenberg, nice rim protection.
And then they get the foul on Lykes, so he has fouled out with 8:09 left.
And that's one where he must know. And again, a lot of times guys don't, it's just difficult for them to dial down their aggression. But in that situation right there, 8:09 to go, you have 4 fouls. You're the key to the team. You got to let that one go. And certainly that is a big blow for Miami.
You just saw the range of emotions just in those few moments there for Chris Lykes. Disbelief that he is fouled out with 8:09 left. And then he started to break into leadership mode and trying to rally some of the guys before he left that huddle.
And remember, at that 10:48 mark, he went out of the game. They were trailing. They were up, 49-34. It was a 15-point game. And then as soon as that, he had to get him back in because they cut it to 8. But this right here, he's got to let him go. And it's a clear foul. Again, that's right on the arm, right in front of the referee. And certainly not a good play by Chris Lykes.
Champagnie gets it to a 6-point margin. And here comes what is unrelenting pressure from Pitt right now. You see a 17-3 run these last 6 minutes. McGusty pulls up with a floater.
Well, I just like his all-around game. He's shown the three-point range, and then his mid-range has been impressive. That's a nice pull-up jumper in that against that 3-2 zone.
Tony draws a foul. Pitt has been down by as many as 20 just in this second half. They've got it down to in the 79th game of his career. First time that Chris Lykes has fouled out of a game. So Malcolm Huckabee, they've needed more from Cam McGusty and will need more the rest of the way.
Yeah, and right now he's got 19 points for Miami, leading the way. He's done it in a variety of ways. Three-point range, that time showing off the mid-range. He has been fantastic in this game for Miami, and he is going to be the guy that they're going to have to ride out to make plays to close out this game.
Look at our game summary. Remember, Jeff Capel, right around the 14:30 mark, he used his final timeout. And then 30 seconds after that, this was a 20-point game. And so they've changed defenses, and that's played a big part in this comeback.
Yeah, I think it was huge. They're going to the three-quarter court pressure and then back to that 3-2 matchup zone. And I think what they've done out of the zone also, they've been active, meaning they've been out on shooters and they have not allowed any dribble penetrations or passing. Miami, though, on the other side has to do a better job not floating the ball around against that zone and then try to break it down with either the pass or some screens.
Second chance comes for Pitt, down by 8 off a couple of misses. And Tony got blocked on the perimeter by Harlan Beverly. Shot clock below 10. McGowan spinning and falling away. Banks that in. How about the shot making in this game?
We have on display some guards that can make difficult shots. One of them on the bench now, Chris Lykes. That right there, though, Trey McGowan's.
Miller secures it. McGowan's hitting the floor. McGusty has had a quick trigger, and rightly so in this one. Loves to go right, tried to do it through a double and coughs it up. Still no Xavier Johnson for Pitt. He's been out since the 14:30 mark when Jeff Capel used that final timeout. Tony on the drive. Left it short. Got his own miss and found Brown for 2. Miller took another shot, and so a whistle blows it dead. Suffered the laceration you see just above the eye in the first half.
And right here, again, that's just tough. McGowan's, nothing you can do. Not bad defense. A guy shooting a fadeaway, going away from the basket and banks it from the foul line. You just tip your hat and play on.
We had Vasiljevic bank in a 3. We have McGowan's hit that one falling away. We got a 4-point game with 6 to go in Coral Gables. Beverly's runner is good over the top of the shot blocker Brown.
And that's a smart play that time. Wardenberg comes up and sets the screen. Again, that's how you want to break down that zone. Either get a ball screen and try to move the D, or have a big flash and catch the ball in that high post area.
Miami has gone to more zone itself recently over the last few weeks. Champagny was met by 2 Hurricanes. Tony is battling here these last few minutes. McGowan's in a scramble. Finds Brown again for 2 more.
I'm not sure how McGowan's got that pass through there. My goodness, hands all over the place, body, and he still threaded the needle.
McGusty into the teeth on the kick for Wardenberg. Too strong. Murphy wants it. McGowan's turns it over, and a run out for Beverly with the flush. Champagnie, they love him against the zone, and it belongs to Miami.
And now on the other side, I like the changeup by Miami going to the 2-3 zone, but this time off the turnover by McGowan's, and the finish, an easy deuce for Miami.
Beverly gives it up. Vasiljevic could have given all the momentum to Miami.
You can't ask for a better look right there. Your best three-point shooter, a wide open three in the corner.
Still a 6-point game coming up on these final 4 minutes of regulation. Murphy. Tough shot, no. The tip at the rim for Adis Toney.
Toney has been very active on the offensive glass. Really like his activity, and that's a big putback. Let's see how Miami attacks. Let's see if they get a high ball screen.
Instead, Miller. And a foul. Chance at 3 for the big man, Rodney Miller. Pitt has got within 4, but Miami so far has had answers coming down the stretch in Coral Gables. And what a slate we have coming. It starts with Packer and Durham, 7 a.m. Eastern, then a 2-hour pregame with the Huddle crew, then the game itself with the Clemson radio team led by Don Munson. Then after the game, the Huddle breaks it all down. Interviews with coaches and players. You can watch it all as well on the ESPN app from anywhere. What a funky game it's been, Malcolm Huckabee. We know Chris Lykes is fouled out. Xavier Johnson has been on the bench for Pitt as well since the 14:29 mark.
Yeah, it really has been a game of really just flows back and forth. Obviously, Chris Lykes on the bench. Xavier Johnson really has been a non-factor in this second half. But if you're Pitt, you have to be pleased if you're Coach Capel that you're still within 6. It feels like they should be down a lot more. But certainly they can ill afford any more turnovers to close this game out.
Well, Rodney Miller, not a good free throw shooter. Could not finish what would have been a 3-point play. So a 6-point margin, just under 3:20 left. McGowan's back down to 4. So far as close as Pitt has gotten.
And I really like the decision by McGowan's. Again, don't settle for a jumper against this 3. Try to break it down off the bounce. That time, caught the Miami defense sleeping.
Harland Beverly, the freshman, found Wardenberg, who stayed patient for a big 2.
Now Miami comes out of that 2-3 matchup zone.
Murphy. No. McGusty clears it. Beverly against the zone. And a trip called. They get the foul there on Trey McGowan's.
You said the word patience. This is a patient play by Wardenberg. Again, don't go for the first one. Little head fake. Don't panic. And then that's a nice touch with the little jump hook.
Again, a guy playing effectively on one leg, dealing with the right knee tendonitis that brought him into the training room at 10 a.m. today. Wardenberg, what a great cutoff ball.
And that's just a heads-up play. Saw that his guy was double-teamed, dive hard, and that's another beautiful pass and finish by Wardenberg.
McGowan's, no. Miami has had a gauntlet of a schedule so far. They've already seen Duke once and Louisville twice. And so they're trying to hold serve here at home.
Well, if you're Pitt, you may have to try to speed them up as we take a look at a deep 3 by Vasiljevic. But you certainly have to get into your offense quick.
McGowan's a hesitation. High off the glass, and Beverly the rebound. On the run out, Beverly lays it in.
What a smart play by the freshman. Again, you don't mind getting out in transition like that.
Looking a lot like Chris Lykes, the guy he's in for right now.
And that is just a beautiful pass right here. Take the double team. That's a left-handed pass to the cutter. And he is not playing like a freshman in this last 3 minutes. That's a beautiful dime. And then I think the heads-up play off the rebound. A lot of times teams run out the clock, but in that situation, he had numbers, forced the action, make a nice layup.
Audie's Tony cans a three. 7-point game, 53 seconds left. Got to foul at some point, right?
Either that or you got to try to trap, but I'm not sure. I think they're trying to foul, and they didn't get him.
Well, what are they waiting for?
Well, this guy right here, you do not want to foul.
Not enough time left, down by 7. And now a foul 20 seconds into the possession.
Panthers foul on number 24, Ryan Murphy, his second, team foul number 6.
And that is really a tough break. They were trying to foul Rodney Miller. Rodney Miller shoots 36% from the free throw line. He had the ball in his hands. The coaching staff was yelling foul.
Yeah. And now Miami had to get it into him. Maybe a freshman move there by Harlan Beverly, the inbound man.
His third, team 7.
Hey, coming up top of the hour, once we are done here, ACC Network bringing you an all-access pass into Miami women's basketball, 8 p.m. Eastern, right when we're done on ACCN and the ESPN app. Katie Meyer and her team. So Rodney Miller, for his career, coming into tonight, 11 for 35, and he's good.
Well, you did the reverse jinx that time. Typically, you guy steps up and he's a 90% free throw shooter. You say he's lights out and he'll miss. You did the opposite this time, so certainly the Miami fans will enjoy that. But right now, Pitt also has to be cognizant. They have no timeouts.
Miller at the rim to meet Tony. Final 15 seconds. Jim Larinaga and DJ Vasiljevic use the timeout, and Miami can taste it.
30-second timeout.
Well, this crowd is appreciating the effort, and I think the start that they had to this game really, that was a key factor. How they jumped on Pitt to open this game up on that 18-0 run. Really, it was, I think, at the end, too much for Pitt to overcome.
What a funky game this has been. You mentioned the fast start as we check out now. Tonight's player of the game brought to you by Zaxby's. And in a game where Chris Lykes only has played 19 minutes and fouled out, 19 points from Cam McGusty.
Yeah, and I think the other number to go along with the stats, yes, that was great. 19 points, 3 of 7 from the three-point line, but I think he only had 2 turnovers in the game against this Pitt pressure. I think he did a really nice job making plays for himself, but he also set up his teammates for some good opportunities as well.
Miami has been so challenged by its schedule that it's still going to be really difficult the rest of this month at the very least and throughout the ACC season. They've been tested with injuries. Today they got some other adversity with Lykes fouling out, and yet they have withstood all these Pitt runs.
Yeah, Coach L definitely has to be pleased. Not only that they've won this game, obviously anytime you win in the ACC, that's a good thing, but I think how they did it, patching guys together, and if you told him Chris Lykes was going to go out that early in a game and you still were going to win against a Pitt in that backcourt, he certainly has to be pleased.
And on the other side for Pitt, Xavier Johnson sits for the final 14-29 of the ballgame.
I think turnovers. Again, I think at times, look, he's a talented player. He will continue to get better, but he still is a young player. He's only a sophomore, and I think Coach Capel wants more consistency out of him.
Goaltending in the final 7 seconds. You saw the upcoming schedule for Miami. What a daunting slate for them. Jim Larrañaga has said, I don't think any team in the country has a harder schedule in January. And it's a Pitt team that's been playing very well, but Miami handles the Panthers to get its second ACC win. 66-58 the final score as the Hurricanes take down the Panthers here in Coral Gables. Coming up next, it's All Access with Miami women's basketball, the premiere, an hour long coming your way. So for Malcolm Huckabee and our entire ACC